All right, so today we're going to look at the rain shadow effect, and our learning target is to be able to explain or to describe this rain shadow effect. All right, so this assignment is pretty simple. There's 2 steps. Step 1 is to watch this video and answer the 7 questions in the rain shadow questions, which was on our Google Classroom. It was right under this. It was a link right under this video. And the second step is to create a Flipgrid video. So you're going to create a video where you're going to explain to me the rain shadow effect. Okay, that is our learning target. So here we go. Define the rain shadow effect. First thing that we need to understand is the difference between weather and climate. So to understand this difference, think of it this way. Climate is what we get over a long period of time. Weather is what we get that day or week, okay? I like to think of it as climate is what we expect and weather is what you get. So climate is what we call our average weather conditions over a long period of time, usually 2 or 3 decades. That's 20 to 30 years, okay, over a long period of time. It includes our temperature, it includes rainfall, all those types of things. So again, when we're looking at this, climate over a long period, weather short term, okay? And when we're talking about all of this weather, we're talking about things like rain, snow, sleet, hail. We're looking at humidity, temperature, pressure, all of those types of things that we see outside when we look at our weather for that day. So, climate is what we get over time, and weather is what we get today, right? What's the key difference between climate and weather? We said that climate is what we expect, and weather is what we get. Okay? Long term is climate, short term is weather. So let's quickly talk about the wind. In the northern hemisphere, the wind blows from the west to the east. Okay? We call these westerlies. Okay? It blows west from the west to the east across the United States. When that air hits our coastal mountains, it rises. It's pushed up over the top of the mountains. As that happens, it hits its dew point. It goes from a vapor to a liquid, right? And it becomes too heavy, and it falls in the form of rain. So if this is our great little diagram here, this would be the Pacific Ocean here. Water evaporates and rises, forms clouds up here. Those clouds are then pushed by the westerlies from the west going to the east. It hits what would be the Olympic Mountains. As they rise to go over these mountains, the moisture condenses and cools and falls in the form of rain, goes back into the Pacific Ocean. This would be the windward side of the mountains, the side that receives the moisture. As these clouds go over the top of the Olympics, they have less moisture in them. This is what we would call the leeward side, okay? This is the rain shadow side, okay? The leeward side is the rain shadow. So if we're looking at this again, the winds blow right across North American continent like that, from the west to the east. And this gives us our rain shadow. Okay, so if we're looking at this map here, we can see as the clouds rise, they cool in temperature, right? and this causes things to condense and fall in the form of rain. So this would be the windward, and this would be the leeward. Okay? This would be the rain shadow side. There is less moisture on the rain shadow or leeward side than on the windward side. That is what we're talking about when we talk about the rain shadow. So in our state, we have two rain shadows. Okay? We have rain shadow number 1, the Olympics, and rain shadow number 2, the Cascades. And we can see this in rainfall. So the rain shadow effects makes the western side of mountains very wet. This would be the windward side. Okay? The side that is the rain shadow side, this would be the leeward side. Okay? And we can see this in rainfall. Look, you got 120 here, 200 inches of rain. Then we cross over the top of the Olympics, and you see we're at 15 and 20. Then we start picking up again, 30 to 40 in Seattle, North Bend, 50 to 70. We get to about 100 inches at the top of the Cascades. Then once we cross the Cascades, we're back to 15 to 20 inches again. That would be the leeward side of the Cascades. So we have two rain shadows in our state, the Olympics and the Cascades, and we can see that in the amount of rainfall. So let's stop and think about this one. These are questions 4, 5, and 6 on your worksheet. Westerlies blow from the west to the east. The rain shadow is on the leeward side of the mountains where it's dry, and the precipitation falls heavily on the windward side of the mountains. So when we're looking at the rain shadow exists on the dry side of mountains. Okay? They don't get as much rain due to the mountains blocking the rain. It is condensed and falls in the form of precipitation on the windward side of the mountains. So in our state, we tend to find deserts located on the leeward side of the mountains. Okay, that is what we're talking about when we are talking about the rain shadow effect. So that brings us to question number 7. How could the rain shadow influence vegetation on both sides of the mountain? So as you're thinking about this, I want you to think about rainfall. Okay, and what does, how would rainfall impact vegetation? Okay, those are the two things that I want you to think about. Okay, when you write your answer. So rainfall and vegetation. Okay, so again, if we're looking at the map here, we've got rain shadow number 1 and rain shadow number 2. This would be the windward, leeward, windward, leeward. Okay, we see this in rainfall percentages. If you look right across the top here, back to 5 to 10, 2 to 8, and then in our area, we're about 15 inches in our area. Okay, so it kind of shows you what this looks like. So when we're looking at it, the rain shadow influences the amount of vegetation a region will have by altering amounts of precipitation. So this great image shows it real well. So we've got our clouds rising up. That's the windward side. Then we have the leeward side and the rain shadow. Now I want you to go ahead and finish the answers to your worksheet on Google Classroom, and then don't forget to create a video that explains the rain shadow effect. And make sure you have it turned in on the due date. See you next time.